All right, it's been a good amount of time since I last did this, and this time I actually have something exciting. Throughout the last week, I took part in a free online tournament on the Ruggles Discord server. I came third out of 22 people on this tournament, so I thought like I was really happy with I was happy with how I did, even though it's not a massive tournament. I thought I would share my deck profile because I'm so happy I get to be playing Prank Kids again, not just be playing Prank Kids, but take it to a tournament and go as far. So I'm just gonna go over my matchups real quick. Round one was against Buster Blader Invoke Dogmatica Dragoon, the glue deck that's been going around for a bit, and I beat that matchup 2-0. Round two lost to 60 card Asclepiscu FDK. He lost that 0-2. Round three matchup against Grenmaju, won that 2-0. Round four matchup against Invoke Mech Knight, won that 2-1. Round five, Pendulum Magician Invoked. Not Pendulum Magician Invoked. Pendulum Magician Endymion. Won that 2-1. Round six was up against Hero, and I won that 2-1. And round seven, some technicality stuff happened. It was up against Mystic Mine, and I lost that. And with tiebreakers, that ended me off at third place. So I want to go through this deck profile, talk about card choices, what I did, some insight that's happened after a certain card has dropped, and just the result of my testing going into this tournament and how I played. Let's say overall, Prank Kids performed well as about as well as I expected. Actually, better than I expected. I'm surprised, even though this is not a mass tournament. I'm surprised I even did this well with Prank Kids. It was so much fun, such fun deck. Shout out to the moderator True Despair for running this tournament. Shout out to all my opponents in the tournament. Shout out to my boys on the Discord who helped me run through some theory. So we'll get into my card choices now. 3 Fansies, 3 Dropsies, 3 Lampsies, and 3 Roxies. 3 of every Prank Kids. I believe this is a standard deck list. Since every Prank Kids monster is now a 1 card starter because of Meow Meow. It's crazy to say that. You need to see as many Prank Kids as quickly as possible. So that's why I'm playing all 3 of these. Those who don't know the effects, Fansy's effect is you can, when it's used for a fusion or link summon of a Prank Kids monster, you can send one Prank Kids card from your deck to the graveyard. Then you can special summon a Prank Kids monster from your hand or deck, except Fansies. Dropsies is the same, but instead of sending, you gain 1,000 life points. Lampsies, you burn your opponent for 500, and Roxy's banish one card from your hand to draw one. Important thing to note about all these effects is that they are a you can burn, you can use the first effect. Then you can choose to special summon or not. So you use these for material, choose not to summon, choose not to use the effect. If you choose to use the effect, you could even choose not to summon it. So that's come up a few times. That came up quite a few times in the Mystic Mind matchup, actually. Honestly, I think since you want can I played this deck for tournament because I thought it was the most consistent. It died to 1 Ash, but having access to about 15 or 16 1 card starters sounded excellent to me, and the board it puts up isn't anything to laugh at either. Another monsters in my deck. 3 Parallel Exceed. It's true that Parallel Exceed doesn't play around Nibiru, but I include it for 2 specific reasons. The first reason is it helps chain block your first effect. Since if you normal summon a Prankins monster, link into Meow Meow, activate the effect. If they have the Ash and you don't have any other possible extenders in hand, you're pretty much forced to pass turn then and there. But if you have Exceed in hand and a Prank Kids, normal Prank Kids, link into Meow Meow, chain link 1 the Prank Kids monster, chain link 2 Exceed. You special out Exceed, then you special out the Prank Kids monster, then they're forced to Ash this, because if they Ash or Impermanence this, or use whatever hand trap they have on this, because if they don't, you get another body on board, and goes into the second reason why I play this card. You get a free rank 4 with it. Baguska, Dweller, Tornado Dragon, whatever rank 4 you want, you can make it with this. Hell, even Rafflesia for Gravedigger's Trap Hole. That can help with negation stopping Nibiru. So the hand traps of the deck: 3 Ash, 3 Veiler, and 3 Nibiru. In the tournament, I originally played a 41 card list. This is a 40 card list, but I originally played 41 card list to I took out the 3 Veilers and put in 3 Gamma and Driver for the Virtual World matchup, because this card doesn't really do anything against Virtual World, and I thought I would at least play Virtual World once or twice. As it turns out, it didn't come up, and I drew Driver way more time, Driver or Dead Gammas way more times than I could count. So I think I'll go back to playing 3 Veiler in the main. Might even try out 3 Impermanents. Try and get a playset of that now because thank you, Premium Gold. Ash Blossom Standard performed very well for me. Nibiru performed quite well, actually. I'm happy with Nibiru because your most optimal M board playing around Nibiru leaves only maybe one or two set cards and no monster on board, so you're basically free to Nibiru and you're free to use Battle Butler. You've got about 2 or 3 board wipes. And the last 3 monster in my deck, this is my spice I had for the tournament. This is my special thing. I played 3 Gamma Seal Decitral Kaiju. Honestly, it sounds crazy, but with Zodiac, with Virtual World, with having to go second dealing with cards like Darklaw, dealing with Jackal King, Appaloosa, except in the 2 matches I lost, the Mystic Mine and FTK matchup, this card performed extremely well for me. It's actually kind of scary how well this card performed. I can even see this main deck in Kaijus being a staple in the next format if Zodiac becomes the top deck. Anyways, I put this in last minute as well. I was playing 3 Ash, 3 Veiler, 3 Nibiru, 3 Ogre. But I didn't feel like Ogre did a whole lot. Sure, it tributed monster, but it didn't stop everything in entirety. So I figured that if I'm going second, it's more valuable to be able to get rid of a problematic monster. Like, sure, you can Ogre this, you can Ogre that. You Ogre a play, your opponent keeps going, they set up like Buster Lock on something. Well, that sucks. But if you're playing Kaiju, you on your turn draw, standby, main, drop this on the problematic monster, normal summon your prank kids, and go off on your combos. I should note now that every card in my deck, minus the gammas and drivers, which I played in the tournament, every card in this deck performed smoothly. It ran smoothly. I am completely happy with how it turned out. Now onto my spells and traps. Since this is a pretty monster heavy deck, there's not too many spells and traps. 3 place, 1 terraforming, obviously because consistency, you need to see place as much as possible. I did consider set rotation, but even though set rotation adds another copy of place to my deck, it also adds a potential brick to my deck and I don't want to risk having to draw a brick in a tournament setting. Very very helpful. Add a prank kids card. If you fusion summon, make your monsters gain 500. You link summon, make your opponent's monsters lose 500. It helps with chain blocking, but keep in mind, on turn 1 you can only really chain block with the fusion spell because the way this is ruled, if your opponent doesn't have a monster on the field, you can't use the link effect to reduce the opponent's monster's attack. You also can't do that with face down cards as well. Well, I'm really happy with the ratio. I wouldn't change it at all. Moving on to my fusion spells, because I still play quite a few fusion spells. 3 poly and 1 instant fusion. I don't play 3 poly 3 invocation anymore because invocation only really works if you have 2 other prank kids monsters in hand, and not only that, your most optimal thing to do with even if you open 2 kids in a poly is do your turn 1 Meow Meow play, conservative Meow Meow play to play around Nibiru, and keep the 3 polys in hand and keep the instant fusion in hand for the turn 3 if you get there. So you set up your Battle Butler, your opponent's turn, and you nuke twice. They have a suboptimal board. They don't even have really a threatening monster, and they pass turn. you've got this in hand, you can go through your fusion and you freely go through your fusion and link combos on your turn and hopefully kill them. Same deal with instant fusion. These are mainly here just as extenders for turn 2, turn 3. On to the last cards in the main deck, the Prank Kids cards. 2 Pandemonium, 2 Pranks, 1 Plan. I wouldn't change this ratio at all. The reason why I play 2, I don't really agree with 2-O's that much, but the reason why I would play 2 is if it would be nice to draw. Like, it would be okay to draw, but I mainly want to search the card, such as deal with Pandemonium and Pranks. Plan, I played at 1 because I don't want to see too many Plan. Either I'm saying it's the graveyard off of this effect if I have it in hand, I'm saying it's the graveyard off Fansies, or in rare situations, I'm adding this off Dodo to make Rip Roaring Roaster for matchups against back row decks. Excuse me. Pandemonium, quick effect fusion summon. The reason why this isn't as good going first is it locks you into Prank Kids. You can't make your rank 4 after you activate this. You can't make Toad. Pranks, this is your this makes a token by discarding a Prank Kids card, and also it's your main way of recurring resources. It's your main recursion engine. Which this, along with a few cards, even disgusting as it sounds, actually comes up for a Mystic Mine lock. Surprisingly, even in a matchup against Mystic Mine, say your opponent's playing Mine, they activate Skull. They activate the Oracle card that stacks the top 3 cards of your deck. You can use this in your end phase every turn to shuffle 3 Prankets monsters back into not Prankets monsters. Shuffle 3 Prankets cards back into the deck from wherever the hell you want from the graveyard. Extra deck, main deck, doesn't matter. Shuffle them back, draw 1 card. Not only does the shuffle help, but the draw also helps into drawing out like Cosmic Cyclone or Feather Duster. And the plan during main phase when this is activated on field, it's a continuous trap, so that part kind of sucks. But when this is activated, link summon using monsters you control. So it hasn't come up too many times, but the effect that comes up the most is once in the graveyard and your opponent's monster declares an attack, you can banish this from the graveyard, shuffle Prank Kids cards back in the deck, and your opponent loses 100 attack for your opponent's monster that's attacking loses 100 attack for each card shuffled back. So in terms of grind game or when your opponent's trying to beat over your Battle Butler or something, this card comes up quite a few. This card comes up, and it's really funny to be able to shuffle back like 15 Prank Kids. So that was my main deck, 40 card main deck. I honestly wouldn't change anything about it. I feel very happy. I feel like ratios are very sound. If Called by the Grave ever comes back to 3, maybe I'll consider taking out something, put Called by back in, because I don't want to be running a Saki 1 of and a 2 of in the deck. Doesn't make sense to me, but I also don't want to die Ash. So whenever Called by the Grave does come back to 3, I'll put it back in the deck somehow. Onto the extra deck, for the fusions, 2 Rocket, 1 Washer, 1 Butler. I have no complaints with this whatsoever. I feel you don't go into the fusions that much anymore because since you have 1 card link combos, you mainly go into the links now. People you can play 3, 2, and 2 even. That's a little bit greedy, but if you're playing like a dedicated pure Prankids list with no other cards in the extra deck, nothing else in the extra deck, you can play 3, 2, and 2, even though I don't agree. You can even play 2 of this normally, but the only reason why I'd see you playing 2 Battle Butler is if you're running the Ferret Anaconda Thunder Dragon Fusion package, which then again is pretty good. Except I didn't run it for 2 reasons. One, I feel like it's more of a win more option. Actually, 3 reasons. One, it's more of a win more option. 2, it's only really good in the grind game if you open it up at the start. It doesn't make sense to use it, and obviously you can't not opening up at the start. Third reason why I don't play is because it's adding a brick to the deck. I don't want to run any bricks. Basically, I want my deck to run as such that no matter what hand I draw, I won't have any problems with what I draw, which is why after this tournament I think I'll take out Gamma. I did use the Gamma driver package, but I drew driver way too much. My ratios for the XE monsters. One Toad and a rank 4 monster. You can choose any rank 4 monster you want, but the rank 4 of my choice, which I chose, was a copy of Bagooska. Mainly because in most matchups, this helps for when maybe you don't even have an optimal hand. Your opponent somehow finds a way to negate your No, it doesn't. Never mind. I'm not rambling correctly. I'm not even rambling that sensibly. But the reason why I played Bagusa is because compared to Dweller, compared to Tornado Dragon, I felt like the ability to lock down monster effects, since we're in a monster effect heavy format, was very valuable. And as it turns out, it was, because every time I made Baguska, it worked. It worked great. I had Battle Butler stuff. I had Baguska. My opponent couldn't really do anything. If they outed Baguska, I had Battle Butler. If they outed Battle Butler, guess what? I still have Baguska. It didn't matter. And Toad, don't need to say anything else about Toad. It's an Omni Negate. Steal the card. It can steal the card it negates, and once sent to the graveyard, you can add a water back. You can add, excuse me. You can add a Dropsies back, or you can even add a Gamma Seal to use it again. I ran those onto the extra deck. Onto the rest of the links. Rest of the extra deck. 2 Meow Meow, easily the best card in the deck. The reason why I even considered playing this deck again for a tournament like this, I was originally going to play Infernoble or going to play something meta, but thanks to Meow Meow, I don't need to worry about that. I get to be able to play my favorite deck and do well like I did. Rest of the Prank Kids links: 2 Dodo, 2 Bark, and 1 Roaster. Dodo is the other best Prank Kids link monster. On summon, it searches a Prank Kids spell or trap, and I contribute on my turn to add 2 Prank Kids cards from my graveyard back to my hand. Very, very valuable resource, very valuable to have. Bow Wow Bark, kind of the same second effect as Dodo, but it's on your opponent's turn, and also the part that helps OTK any Prank Kids monster it points to gains 1000 attack. Roaster, this is your Battle Butler, but for spells and traps. Oh yeah, I should tell you that Battle Butler, if it's sent to the graveyard by opponent's effect, you can special summon a non-link Prank Kids monster from your grave. If Roaster sent to grave by opponent's card effect, you can target a card in your grave except a link monster, add it to your hand. So those cards help in ground game. Those even help against like Dogmatica Maximus. Get some resource back. And to round off the extra deck, Nightmare Unicorn, Axis Code Talker. You go into this if you know you're going to kill your opponent. Helps make the kill easier. Onto the side deck, I had no problems with the side deck. 3 Lancia and Pankratops, those are my monsters, the main deck monsters of the side deck. Lancia basically looks at Dinos, looks at Dragon Link, looks at Infernoble, looks at Virtual World. Looks at all the decks who need to banish for their win condition, says, hey, how about you don't do that, it doesn't help. Also, with Pankratops, you know it's one of it, it's helpful against back row decks like Guru. It helped against Grenmaju, Invoke Mech Knight, Pen Magician. It's basically just a way to pop any card you want to get off your opponent's field, and even if you don't use the pop, it's still 26 is still a pretty big body. You can run into Napalooza. You can run into another problematic extra deck monster, run to a problematic main deck monster, and survive. To the spells of the deck. 3 Dark Ruler No More. This is for going second against combo. You don't want it's pretty standard. You don't want combo to be able to do their like crazy negates and kill you next turn. Just Dark Ruler, clean up the board in the battle phase, and set yourself up for a position in a good position. 2 Mystic Mine. Please, please, please close the mine. Please ban mine. This card I play in the side deck because it's a necessary evil. I don't like it though. I don't think that cards that don't promote interactivity, even Mystic Mine, Smoke Grenade, True King Ball Calamities, cards like that need to go. Mystic Mine also needs to go. I don't think this is a very healthy card for the game, but did it perform well for me? Yeah, it performed well in many different matchups, and I'll show this. I don't like to show it to people because I don't like using it. But after this video, I'm going to make a combo video for a later date, and that I'll show off the Mystic Mine lock of the deck. And for the spell and trap removal of my side deck, aside from Pankratops, 3 Cosmic, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, and 1 Red Reboot. I didn't side that heavily for back row because honestly, like I said, it's a pretty monster combo mid-range heavy format. So at the very least, I don't need to side. I can side for back row. I don't need to side too heavily, mainly to get rid of like Eldritch stuff, Dogmatica stuff, set Fog Blades, which Cosmic Cyclone does great because especially for Eldritch and the PK decks playing Fog Blade, they don't get their effects in the graveyard because they're banished. Harpy's Feather Duster, just a mass destruction of all your opponent's back row. Very good card. The fact that this came back to 1 is insane to me, and I love it. And red reboot, same thing. Help deal with back row decks. You activate a Feather Duster, chain Solemn Judgment, negate Feather Duster, or chain any other counter trap to negate it. Okay, chain red reboot, and then you go off and you kill them. And the last card in my side deck is the 1 Dweller. I only have it in here because the extra deck space is pretty limited right now, and I'm already confident enough with how my extra deck is right now. Maybe if the format becomes more graveyard dependent, or if the format becomes more spell and trap dependent, I might change the rank 4 in the extra deck, which is why I have Dweller in here. But also Dweller in the side deck comes up a few times because I guess the main matchup where it would really come up would be like against Dino, maybe against Grand Maju. It comes up against for next format, if it's good, it comes up against Orcus as well pretty well. This card's very good for rogue matchups that like to use the graveyard. Even the Prank Kids mirror match, same thing with fan mates. So this was my again, this is my Prank Kids deck profile. I feel very comfortable with the list I played. I feel really happy, really confident. I don't think I would change too much right now, especially with a ban list on the horizon. Maybe tomorrow, a few days later, I'll probably upload a combo video going over the new 1 card combos, going through some 2 card combos with Prank Kids, going through the Mystic Mine loop. But anyways, that's all I want to say. I want to show this off. Thanks for watching. Shout out to the Ruggles Discord server, and shout out to the people who I played in the tournament, who tested with me for the tournament, and for the people who made the tournament happen. It was a really fun experience. Like, comment, subscribe if you want. Hashtag Konami, please ban Mystic Mine, and take care, stay safe, have a good night.